What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I am absolutely horrified at the fact that there are so many women and men that are basically supporting this nonsense when it comes to your sons being feminine. Yo, listen, you can keep referencing everything that you want to reference. You can reference the Bible, you can misquote stuff, you can continue to talk about what's happening in certain spaces and all of that, but I'm just telling you that there is no man, and I mean zero, that says that, you know what, I'm cool if my son grows up and be gay. That is probably, I can't think of too much that will be worse than that. Honest to God, like, I think that a death in the family is not as bad. I think that going broke and losing everything, not as bad, because you can recover from that. Life and death happens to everybody. As a man, I can't think of a worse scenario, of a worse life circumstance than a man growing up and then taking his son to prom. Nobody could ever fathom that, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that men are literally justifying it, they're switching over. And I don't care how tough you look, I don't care how much gray you got in your beard, I don't care if your hair, if you got a bald head, and you know what I'm saying? I don't care if you work at a plant or a factory or nothing like that. To see the defeat in real time and people posting it on the internet of a man and his son is in a dress and they have long fingernails and bracelets like women and all of that stuff. I was horrified when I seen a trend of men wearing pearls. I said, yo, man, this was a while back. I said, when did men start wearing pearls? I thought that pearls was reserved for women. There are certain things in society and certain things that is reserved for women. They can have it. There's no unisex to it. You know what I'm saying? It should not be ever, under any circumstances. I don't care how modern times is, you can keep saying, no, things has changed. No, fam. Some stuff never change. Some stuff can change, right? We can change the way that we look at people and make them more human instead of thinking that slavery is a good thing, right? We can evolve to have more compassion or whatever, so on and so forth. But some things should never change. And basically, they want y'all to be unisex. They don't want it to be any difference between a man and a woman. And you cool with that. You okay with it because they beat you into submission. And it's been a transition over time. And I'm telling you that it's going into a very, very dark space. Think about it for a second. Y'all used to protest for civil rights, meaning that you wanted the opportunity, equal opportunity to achieve the American dream, especially considering that you didn't come here, right? And that's also a part of what birthright citizenship is. It's, you didn't ask to be here. You got captured and sent over here, and different people benefited off of your ancestors. And so as a result, you deserve to be able to go and seek out and chase the American dream. Cool, I'm with that. They then took feminism and said, you know what? White women are a minority also. And we said, Harpo, who is this woman? Who is this woman? I'm telling you the transition of how things got to how bad it is in 2025 as of the recording of this video. And black women joined in because they said, you know what? It's not enough for us to fight for civil rights. It's not enough for us to hold down our families and make sure that we're building with our families. We need to join in this fight because we want more opportunity and we need to do more. And so we got to align with this woman that ultimately then used women and led them into this mire where now you have broken families and households because you attached yourself to the federal government and they deprogrammed you and reprogrammed you to think that the government actually had your back, when in reality, all it did was incentivize you to break up your family. So feminism came in, and then you had the first, second, third wave and all of that stuff, right? And then somewhere along the line, we all said, you know what? We need to focus on identity rather than focus on policy, because everybody was broke. And so it's easy to convince broke people to do something that they wouldn't normally do and to go against their inherent values because They are looking for anything. They're looking for hope. They're looking for greatness. They're looking for somebody to give them something and for somebody to inspire them to be greater than their circumstance. And so that was the entire message from the Obama administration. They sold hope. Go back and look it up. The whole 2006 and 7 campaign to ultimately get Obama to become president of the United States of America was largely based around hope, because everybody, especially here in Detroit, was broke. And then you throw into it that he was articulate, he had a lot of swag, he had an ability to be able to capture an audience and speak really eloquently and all of this stuff. And then you throw that in the mix, and the fact that he a black man, it was the perfect storm. White people was looking for something different because they was broke, right? All of them was on welfare. Black people was looking for something different because they was broke. And you can say a black man that's gonna do it. You know what? He got the best of both worlds. He can articulate himself. He's great. He's great. Obama. He had all of the fixings. He was married to a black woman and all of this stuff. And what you got ultimately in the lasting part of his legacy outside of Obamacare, the lasting part of his legacy was what? That he still to this day champions for the alphabet community. He fights so hard for it. By the time he got out of office, it was all about gay marriage. It was all about making sure that we have equity and diversity, equity and inclusion, which largely only benefited white women again. And they were the ones that was really complaining because they are the ones that set forth the whole precedent of breaking up your household, right? And so now we had the civil rights movement being hijacked all the way up and through Obama to make sure that we then champion the alphabet community movement. And the way that they indoctrinated y'all and the way that they made it okay is they said, listen, it ain't affecting you, so why do you care? Why do you care who sleeps with who? I didn't know that anybody cared who slept with who in their own bedroom, but I didn't know that this was going to transition into you indoctrinating people on college campuses and putting it into the books, then making sure that the government hires and give precedence over a person over their preference and all of this stuff. And now it is transitioned so much and they've normalized it. If you do something long enough, incrementally, ultimately, it's going to lead into you normalizing it. You're going to think that it's okay, and you never would have stood for this shit when you was born. Your grandfather didn't like it. Your father didn't like it. Your mother didn't like it. And now the Democrat Party has lost its mind. It has completely lost its place in being a moderate party to where we actually have some sense to now they embrace everything that's wrong with America and they hate Republicans so much they're going to do the opposite of whatever is logical. We can let migrants over here. We can let people be able to bust it down. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Merit doesn't matter. Give away all of our money over to foreign countries and fraud, waste, and abuse, fake jobs, all of this type of stuff, right? Now your college campuses are teaching this. Now we're funding it. Now we're embracing it. And we've gotten to the point to where there are laws that are being introduced to say, well, if you can't help who you love, then why should we criminalize people that like young people? Why should we criminalize people that are in love and having relationships with animals? And the logic makes sense, right? Because you've normalized it. And now I'm seeing videos where women is supporting this crap inside of the comments of a grown man, 40-plus-year-old man, that is putting this out as propaganda, and it is causing a stir on the internet of a grown man taking his grown-ass son that is wearing a purple dress to the prom. And we cool with it. We ain't tripping about it. Had people on the panel last night fighting us about it. Insane. Insane. If you let the inmates run the asylum or run the prison system long enough, you then look at it as normal. And we adapt to it. But I don't adapt to anything. I don't adapt to the devil. I don't give him any precedence in my life. You can be compassionate. You can make sure that you acknowledge somebody's humanity. You don't have to discriminate against them, but it doesn't mean that I support it, and I will never, under any circumstance, fall into the category of a person that's supporting this nonsense, under no circumstance whatsoever. Y'all let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. And subscribe to the channel, man. If you haven't already, hit a like for the algorithm. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments, man.